Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Combat Zone. True honor and pleasure to have the UFC veteran and former Bellator light heavyweight champion. He's back in action on June 27th in the PFL light heavyweight semifinals. Phil Davis, how are you, sir?
Doing so good.
Fantastic, man. Let's break down that thunderous debut you had over former PFL champ Rob Wilkinson. Found that second round finish, your first TKO since 2019. How good did you feel in there that night?
I felt good. Felt good. More than anything, I had a much longer layoff than I really wanted to. So
Mm.
I was just excited to be back in the cage and doing my thing.
Was there anything that Rob Wilkinson presented you with that night that surprised you, or was it about as advertised from the former PFL champ?
Yeah, I would say about as advertised. He was tough. It's hard to explain to people, when you see a finish, you're like, oh wow, this guy is, much better than that guy. Not necessarily. I was just able to execute a technique and land at in a critical place at the right time. You know,
Yeah.
uh it's not exactly like this guy's way better than that guy. No, I got the win. I won't deny myself that, but it was just a matter of timing and placement, and he's a super tough guy. I think he's I don't take anything away from him. I think I was accurate about him. He's a dangerous fighter. Really good game. Um, and power in both hands. He brings a strong game. But yeah, he approached the fight pretty much how I expected.
Yeah. And notably, right, first man to finish him since Israel Adesanya did, I believe, in 2018. So speaks to your point about that toughness and durability that Rob has.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
Next up is Sullivan Cauley on June 27th. And this is an interesting one because it's almost the reversal of a guy like Rob Wilkinson, right? Sullivan's a youngster in the game, up and coming, wanting to make the mark against the true legend like yourself. What do you make of him?
I mean, you just put it together, contextualize the fight in a way that I think that's it. He's an up and comer, all around solid background, wrestling background, um, and he's really just now starting to enter into those big fights with big name guys, and this is kind of the proving grounds for what will be the beginning of a glorious career for
Yeah, I love it. Short and sweet. Short and sweet.
him.
When you look on the other side of that bracket, it features Simeon Powell and Antonio Carlos Jr. Who wins that fight? Who's better in that matchup?
uh, I want to go say Antonio Carlos Jr. But Simeon Powell, he's crafty. He's
Yeah.
crafty. He's um definitely he surprised me in his first fight. I thought he was going to lose that fight, but he was very, very slick and very composed throughout the fight. Um, you know, what's his name? Albertson. He's a tough fighter. He's
Mm.
solid. He's one of those cats that you would love to coach because he covers all the bases.
Yeah.
He's solid technique. He's very fit. He eats clean. He works out hard. He covers all the bases. And he's just super tough. And yeah, Simeon Powell was able to get past him. So yeah, no, he has some craftiness to him. I think he has some real X factor. That and what I mean by X factor, it's just one of those things that you just can't quite quantify till you're in there. It's like,
Mm.
how did you pull that win out? He has a little bit more of that than I originally gave him credit for.
Fair. Great way to summarize it. Yeah, the vision that he has is truly, truly different. I'm curious, right? You talked about the layoff and how this is finally great to get back into the swing of things. What would winning the PFL tournament mean for someone in your position, having such a decorated career, having checked so many boxes?
Mm-hmm.
What would this accomplishment signify to you?
No, I'm moving right along. Everywhere I go, I leave my mark. Everywhere I go, I leave my mark. When I got into Bellator, it was, all right, well, let's see how you let's see how you do against our guys here at Bellator,
Mhm.
And right away, first fight in, I'm going against a former champion, very crafty guy. Again, you gotta put your foot down hard when you go into a new organization, or you come into a new go into a new fight gym, or nah, they're gonna test you. They're gonna give you a rough go of it if they can make it tough for you. So expect that, and you know, I think the winning the PFL tournament will just be proof that I am succeeding through multiple organizations, and just kind of cement my legacy as a good fighter.
Yeah. Different era, same Phil
Yeah,
Davis, same
there you
success,
go.
you know? I'm curious. I want to change the gears back to Bellator 297. It was the split decision to Corey Anderson
Yep.
2023. Was there any thought about potential retirement? Has that conversation ever happened internally for you?
Not for me.
Yeah.
No, no, it's never. It's not been the thought for me as of yet. Um, there was a little break between Corey Anderson fight um, and my last fight. Just excuse me, Bellator was winding down,
Mhm.
and PFL was kind of finalizing their purchasing. So it just poor timing, and out of position. And it's never
Yeah.
good to move into a new organization on a loss. So
Yeah. And please go into as little or as much detail as you want. But during that transition period, right, it seemed like kind of a wild, wild west for a lot of guys.
mhm.
What was the communication like? Did you feel like certainty in that stage, or was there just a ton of things up in the air?
um, I would say uncertainty would
Sure.
categorize it best. The communication wasn't best. And here's the thing, I maybe too much, but I kind of rested on the fact that I'm sort of a name guy, and
Yeah.
if possible, I imagine they would have liked to keep me on board. Um, uh, you know, it was a little tricky, but you know, I think all parties involved tried did their best to try to make sure that fighters felt appreciated. Maybe a little more could have been done, but you know,
It's kind of a tricky
this is
thing,
business. It
right?
has to be
Yeah,
give and take. It has
exactly.
to be give and take.
Not everybody's going to get exactly what they want, unfortunately.
Exactly.
I want to change gears to a question regarding the 33 pro bouts that you've had. You have never been stopped. What's the
Mm,
key to this durability? Even in those hard moments, the adversity inside the
mm.
cage, you have never wilted to any of your opponents, which is beyond impressive.
What's the key?
Hmm.
It's simple. It's simple. Um, I start with a good skincare routine. Okay, the skincare routine is going to take you to the next level. You got good skincare, you don't get cut. You don't get cut. The
Mm.
doctor doesn't come into the cage. That's step one. Okay. Um. No, it's all about limiting damage down from throughout the course of your career. Just
Mhm.
limiting damage. I was always good at taking people down,
Yeah.
and so I did. Now, it's not to say I couldn't have stood up and kickbox or box more with people before as of late, but why if they can't stop a takedown?
Yeah.
And uh, you know, I think it's just done wonders for my overall longevity, just taking people down, beating them up. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Sports. Yeah.
George St. Pierre, okay, similar style in that he'll take you down and he will beat you up. And that guy, I truly believe he could still fight this day. This day, I
Yeah.
think George St. Pierre can still take on a tough fighter.
I love it. I love it. And listen, path of least resistance, it's a sport. Sport is defined by winning.
Yeah.
You are by the constraints of the sandbox you're in. So I get it. I am curious though, has there been a singular moment or opponent where you could say, man, that is the hardest hitter I've ever faced?
Ooh, what probably the hardest hitter didn't really land like they. I would say I would say it's probably a toss up between a couple of guys. I would say Joe Romero.
Mm.
He's top of my list. But it was always I was never going to let him land. You just cannot let him land. You
Yeah.
you can't. You have to be right. You have to have your angles. A lot of guys they come in very linear, and I prefer to take good angles, especially with stronger, faster, powerful fighters. You're not always going to see that punch. If you're at a safe angle, you stand a chance. If you're at a bad angle, it doesn't matter if you see it coming or not.
Yeah.
So I will put him on that list. I will put Anthony Johnson on that list. I will put Glover Teixeira on that list. I will put Corey Anderson on that list. Um, hmm. Oh, I almost forgot about Nemkov. Yeah, Vadim Nemkov. See, that's how good he is. I forgot that he's on the list. Uh, yeah, no, he's tough. Um, I'd say that rounds out my top five.
Around that list. And I think what's funny is, especially at that weight class, a lot of people are heavy hitters, right? One good
Absolutely,
punch from a 205er, right? You're
absolutely,
probably done.
absolutely. Yeah. When people are like, oh, well, who hits the hardest? Well, I mean, it's really kind of
All of them.
whose punch am I willing? I'm not willing to take none of their punches, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not willfully. It's an accident when it happens.
Man, we've been dissecting the present. Phil, I want to take it back to the past. 4 year
Mm.
team captain at Harrisburg High School. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, what were the keys to being a locker room leader?
Mm. I just always I was always a lead by example type person. I
Mm,
was always at practice. I was always you know, if there were things to do, I was always the one doing them. And
yeah.
so it motivates the other guys, even when they're not sure what wrestling is or how to do it. They're like, man, well, I'll just do what Phil does. I'll just do what he does. And that's good enough. If you
Yeah.
really want to motivate people, I mean, just let them know where to be, what to do, and be there and do it with them.
Yeah. Show up first, leave last, be in the
Mm-hmm.
trenches with the guys. Fair
Mm-hmm.
enough. I'm curious, at that age, right, 15 to 18, what were some of your life goals? What did you envision your life looking like at that point in your life?
Uh I think most of my goals at that age were fairly superficial. Oh, I want to have a nice car. I want to have this. Nothing in terms of like directional. I didn't really know what I
Mm,
wanted to do. I didn't know really how I would get there. It was really just kind of I don't want to say flying by the seat of my pants, but just letting life take me. I was, I guess, resolved to do well in school, and
yeah.
that's all right. And that's all right. When you when you can get those steps correct, life can just unfold and tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah. It'll be how it's meant to be,
It'll
and
be how it's meant to be.
I love it. Now there's been a lot of discussion about fighter pay these days. As someone who's been competing professionally since 2008, has spent lengthy periods in the UFC, Bellator, now in PFL. I'm curious, what is your 2 cents on fighter pay? How have you seen it evolve and develop since, the late 2000s?
Well, it has come a long way. Fighter pay has definitely come a long way, but it has so much more room to go. In other
Mm,
professional sports leagues, the revenue share is something like 50. percent to the athletes and 50% to the organization. In MMA, at its best, it is 20%,
Mm.
and that just cannot be. Uh, we're putting our lives on the line. We have the most unprotected contact sport there is. Um, you just cannot simply, reward those people who are putting their lives on the line with 20% of the revenue.
Yeah.
That's not that's not reasonable.
What is the solution in some ways? Because I know that there's been unionization attempts
Mm-hmm.
that have not worked out in the past. Obviously, there was a big class action recently that was trying to compensate for some back pay.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like this is a nut that anyone's been able to crack effectively.
I I don't want to be a person that complains without providing solutions,
Sure.
but I don't want to, I don't.
It's
I
a tough
also don't want
solution
to.
to provide. So there go. It's like, why?
Right. I also don't want to act like I have it all figured out. You know.
Right.
Um, Unionization probably is not the answer.
Mm,
The MMA fighters are independent contractors. I'm pretty sure it's not legal for independent contractors to form a union.
mm.
So that's number one. Um, and that's sort of why it has failed in the past. If you look at other sports leagues, NFL, NBA, those gentlemen are employees. They are paid. They are paid by their franchise, their respective franchise. Um, Weekly or however monthly, but they are. And I know in the NFL it is weekly. Every
Yeah.
Friday you get paid. And so yeah, you're not a 1099 employee like we are. We MMA fighters are all 1099. So it's vastly different. But I think what really needs to happen is collectively fighters need to advocate for each other. There's too much um, noise in the space where this guy, for whatever reason, is just ripping on this guy. Look, I don't
Mm,
like you. We are going to fight, but hey, I hope you make good money, brother. Okay. I hope you make more than what you're making. We need
yeah.
to advocate for each other. There has to be a separation between the nonsense that helps promote a fight and the real life that is holding each of us back from reaching our top potential,
Mm,
right? In mixed martial arts, our cap is the organization that they decide what they will allow us to make. In boxing, the cap on which you can make is the market,
yeah.
right? Mayweather can make Mayweather dollars because the market justifies it. Whoever buys his fight justifies his pay. That is it. It doesn't matter how many pay-per-view buys you have in MMA, you have a cap.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's one of those things, yeah. If we're gonna change one thing, you gotta change the thing right before it, and then the thing right before it, and then it's a whole, yeah, it's a systemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Systemic.
It's probably the worst thing about MMA. Only if only the GFL could have solved it.
Ah,
Now they'll be back. They'll be back.
come on.
All right, Phil. Last one I got for you. You own a Wheaties box with Hale Sanderson, I believe, on the front.
Yes.
What's the significance of that Wheaties box to you, man?
You know, I think it's important to always have heroes and not to be not to be ashamed of that.
Hmm.
When I was coming out, Kel Sanderson was in college, and he won 159 collegiate matches, 4 national titles, while never losing. Incredible, 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 incredible. Um, there's been guys who have won 4 national titles, but they have lost throughout the season. He
Yeah.
he just had a perfectly unblemished record from start to finish, um, all throughout college, and that to me just it is so is very inspiring.
Yeah.
Not even just the championships, but just in the pursuit of perfection. Um, And truth be told, I don't know. I don't want to speak for Kel. I don't want to speak for Kel, but when he got done with that fourth national title and he retires from collegiate wrestling 159 and 0. There's he still hadn't fully scratched that itch. Now he's going on doing Olympic and world team trials, and he just wants to continue to add to that resume, just continue to push himself. And as an athlete, I see what that is. I can respect what goes into those decisions, into those goals, into the planning, obviously the execution, but to be so bold with yourself to acquire that of yourself, I just admire him so much.
Yeah. And I feel like it's interesting because the rarefied air of immaculate results, right? That's always what I think people are chasing, but they have the
Mm-hmm.
understanding perfection's impossible.
Correct.
Perfection can't be achieved. But I feel like seeing someone actually fucking do it, you go, well, it is possible.
Right.
It's got to be motivating. Yeah.
Absolutely. You see what I'm saying?
I love it. Phil, last one I got for you, man. June 27th, the light heavyweight tournament semifinals. What happens against Sullivan Cauley?
It's what needs to happen. It's what needs to happen, bro. I gotta show up. I gotta perform, and I gotta perform at a level that is above what he has seen in his. Would you say 8 fights, 9 fights?
Think 8 fights. Yeah, 7-1 overall.
Yeah. I have to perform at a level that he's not seen. I have to overwhelm him. I have to exhaust him. I have to bring him into deep waters where he's never been before.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Has he won a fight outside of the first round?
Let's see. I think he won in the second round. Um, no, all first round finishes in his wins. He did have a
Mm,
second round win in his amateur career and then a third round
mm,
victory in his amateur debut, but
mm.
obviously relevance on those fights is long gone.
Relevance. He says,
No
Your Honor,
disrespect, but
relevance.
in his professional victories,
Yeah,
yes, they are
yeah,
all first round stoppages. So
yeah. No, he's in for if you're planning to fight me, you don't plan for a first round anything. You plan for a 3 round, and you see what you get.
mm,
And that's it's extremely difficult to walk into that headspace.
yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, Phil Davis, 4 weeks out. Best of luck with the remainder of the training camp. The former light heavyweight Bellator champion, now in the PFL tournament semifinals. Best of luck, sir. I can't wait to watch it, and we'll speak soon.
Will do. Thank you, guys.